Have you ever found yourself bending backwards just to please someone, only to realize you've twisted yourself into a pretzel? Let me take you back to a time when I found myself in such a predicament. It was the summer of 2018, and a good friend of mine was throwing a lavish party. Now, this friend has a reputation for being a bit eccentric. She insisted that I dress up as a clown. Yes, you heard that right, a clown, to a black tie event. I was torn between my desire to make her happy and my dread of looking like a complete fool. But, to keep the peace, I decided to compromise. Upon arriving, I was met with a sea of tuxedos and evening gowns. The absurdity of the situation struck me like a bucket of cold water. And that, my friends, is how I ended up wearing a clown suit to a black tie event. Now imagine a world where you could say no without the fear of displeasing others. Sounds liberating, doesn't it? I'll let you in on a secret. That world can be your reality. Let me tell you a tale that might tickle your funny bone. It was my cousin's wedding, a swanky black tie affair. Now, I'm more of a jeans and t-shirt kind of person, yet my family, bless them, were insistent that I dress up in a tuxedo. I could almost feel the bow tie strangling me just thinking about it. Here was the crossroads. Do I compromise and squeeze myself into a tuxedo, or do I stand my ground and rock up in my comfortable jeans? After a bit of a mental tug-of-war, I decided to stick to my guns. I showed up in my best pair of jeans, a crisp white shirt, and a blazer. The initial reaction? A mix of surprise, confusion, and a few raised eyebrows. But as the night progressed, something unexpected happened. Other guests started to comment on how comfortable I looked. Some even confessed that they wished they had had the courage to ditch the tuxedos themselves. So there I was, in my comfortable jeans, while everyone else was sweating in their tuxedos. And guess who got the most compliments that night? But how do we navigate this tricky business of standing up for ourselves without turning into an uncompromising ogre? Well, let's dive into it. Picture yourself as a clown at a circus. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting you start juggling or making balloon animals, but bear with me. Clowns are masters of the art of standing up for themselves. They don't let the lions or the audience intimidate them. They're bold, they're brave, and they still manage to keep everyone laughing. Now let's translate that to our lives. First, be like a clown's red nose, always visible and impossible to ignore. Speak up, make your presence known, and let your voice be heard. Second, remember the clown's oversized shoes. They're big for a reason, to keep them grounded. In the same way, stand your ground. Assert your opinions, but keep your feet firmly planted in understanding and respect for others. Third, remember the clown's brightly colored clothes. They're not afraid to stand out or be different. Similarly, don't be afraid to be unique in your thoughts and actions. Lastly, the clown's smile. Even when performing daring stunts, they do it with a grin. So tackle your battles with a positive attitude and a sense of humor. Remember, it's all about balancing on that tightrope. Don't turn into a doormat, but don't become a bulldozer either. And if in doubt, just remember the clown suit. So, what have we learned from my clownish misadventures and denim triumphs? Well, for starters, we've established that compromise has its place, but it's not in the driver's seat of your life, especially not when it comes to your personal values and beliefs. Secondly, we've discovered the power of that little word no. It's not a dirty word, folks. In fact, it can be as refreshing as a cool breeze on a hot summer's day. Saying no can be your ticket to authenticity, a way to keep your integrity intact. Lastly, we've danced around the art of standing up for oneself. It's not about being stubborn or unyielding, but about knowing your worth and refusing to sell yourself short. And with that, I'll leave you with one last thought. Always be yourself, unless you can be a unicorn. Then always be a unicorn. Cheerio!